I hope you had a good weekend. I had an emotional weekend, for sure. As you may know, I wound up in the middle of the national health care debate after... I know, it's ridiculous, but after Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who was on my show back in May and promised a health care plan that passed what he called the Jimmy Kimmel test. He named it that. My son Billy had open heart surgery shortly after he was born. He needs 2 more surgeries, and that experience really opened my eyes to how difficult life can be for other parents in that situation and how important it is that families are covered like we are. Unfortunately, the plan Senator Cassidy and his colleague Lindsey Graham came up with does not sufficiently protect those parents or their children or anyone really, and so I called him out on that. He was going around telling people it passed the Jimmy Kimmel test, and it doesn't. Obviously, it's a personal thing for me. So this weekend, I was in 3 cities over the weekend and also at a charity event on Saturday night. I met so many people who came up to me, strangers. Almost every one of them was a stranger wanting to tell me that the Affordable Care Act that our president and half of our senators are so desperately trying to kill, saved or drastically improved their lives, members of their families' lives, and or their children's lives. They came up to me and they said, Mr. Fallon, thank you for speaking out. And I just let it go because I talked to probably 200 people and I heard these stories over and over again. I saw pictures of children who are not well. People got teared up. Quite a few of these people told me they're Republicans, Republican people, not politicians. There's a very big difference. You know, they did a public policy poll this weekend. Only 47% of Republican voters approve of Graham-Cassidy, but more than 90% of Republican senators are likely to vote for it. A new ABC News poll says Americans overall prefer Obamacare to this new bill, 56 to 33%, but some of our senators are still trying to pass this new bill because they don't actually care what you think. They want you to think what they think. That's why they keep saying Obamacare is a disaster. You hear that word a lot. Obamacare definitely needs work. But think about this. Did anyone have to convince you Hurricane Harvey was a disaster? No, because it was a disaster. Someone has to keep telling you something is a disaster. It probably isn't one. And no one has spoken about this disaster thing more than Donald Trump.
Obamacare is an absolute disaster.
Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare, a disaster. Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare is a total disaster.
The disaster known as Obamacare.
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 Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare is a disaster.
The disaster known as... That was easy.
All right, so someone needs to get him a thesaurus already, but... So then on Friday, common sense and decency prevailed when Senator John McCain of Arizona wrote in and pulled a red wedding on this thing. He said he could not, in good conscience, support Cassidy Graham, even though it was co-written by one of his closest friends, Lindsey Graham. And that takes both. You know how many times I've pretended to like something just because one of my friends wrote it? A million, all right? So that was big. And of course, Senator McCain's position on this did not go over well with President Trump. Here's what Trump had to say about it during yet another masturbatory rally in Huntsville, Alabama on Friday.
You know, John McCain came in and he went thumbs down at 3 o'clock in the morning, and everybody. I know so much, folks, I could tell you. It was sad. And we had a couple of other senators, but, you know, at least we knew where we stood there. That was, like, really a horrible thing. Honestly, that was a horrible, horrible thing that happened to the Republican Party.
Said the horrible, horrible thing that happened to the Republican Party. He's not even right. The truth is, John McCain probably saved the Republican Party by doing this, because if you think Graham-Cassidy is unpopular now, wait until people have to live with it or not live with it. Then who gets blamed? The Republican Party. This is one of the rare moments when we actually needed Congress to do nothing, which is what they're really good at, by the way. Anyway, I tweeted my thanks to Senator McCain over the weekend, and that apparently caught the attention of the folks at Fox and Friends.
Talking about praising, it's playing out everywhere. Jimmy Kimmel is praising John McCain with a tweet saying, at Senator John McCain, president for being a hero again and again, and now again.
Hey, who says I'm not a serious advocate for health care reform? Look at all those chicken wings on that. Now I realize maybe I should have changed my profile picture before I got involved in this. So All the propaganda outlets got very excited. They found out, and they read in an article, that I spoke to Senator Schumer, who's a Democrat, when I was doing research, and of course, they went absolutely nuts. They called me a pawn and a mouthpiece. They said I was a puppet for the Democrats. They said I was extremely well endowed. Oh, no one said that? Anyway, this is what they said.
Think about this. For months, a network evening show has been talking to one side of the aisle to get their talking points on a bill. If you want confirmation that the so-called mainstream media is actually the opposition party in bed with the Democrats, there you have it. How much talk has his staff had with Senator Graham or Cassidy or the majority leader? Probably none, maybe some. Let us know. Jimmy Kimmel Show, if you want to let us know that you've talked to both sides. But the reporting is, we're going to get the talking points from Chuck and Nancy,
right,
and we're going to fight this bill through the media. It's no surprise to those of us that feel like the deck is stacked against real reform in Washington.
Right. Thank you, man, with a pony keg full of gel in his hair. But you know what? It would be easy for me to dismiss this as some kind of right-wing hysteria, but he does have a point. I'd like to make a confession tonight. I think I need to come clean. Here's what happened. So my wife and I were worried about health care. We didn't like what the Republicans were doing, so we decided to have a baby with congenital heart defects, okay? And then once we had that going for us, I went on TV, I spoke out, and we may have stopped Cassidy Graham. I still can't believe we pulled it off, but we did. It's amazing, isn't it? It is really unbelievable. You know, since I started speaking about this, I've been fact-checked against Bill Cassidy by at least 6 different organizations. Every one of them came down on my side. Every major health organization in the United States is on my side. Every major charity that has to do with health and Medicare is on my side, because the facts were on my side. It has nothing to do with me. It's just a matter of what's true and what isn't true. You know, all day today, the Senate Finance Committee had a hearing on this bill. There were protests in the hallways, there were heated exchanges, the whole thing. But at the end of the day, just about an hour and a half ago, one of the 2 key Republican holdouts, Susan Collins, the senator from Maine, said she would not support Graham-Cassidy, which means this bill is almost certainly dead, or at the very least, it's on life support, which isn't covered. So it will be dead. But that's great news. Thank you, Senator Collins. Maine needs affordable health care more than almost any state. You know, the sewers up there are filled with child-eating clowns. I don't know if you... And the best news is now I can go back to talking about the Kardashians. Guys, Kylie's pregnant. Anyway, the whole thing's been a roller coaster for me and my wife. There were definitely some low moments. But on Saturday night, Stevie Wonder had a concert in Central Park where he dedicated a song that happens to be one of my favorite songs to my son.
This is for every wonderful child, every young baby boy, baby girl. Again, Jimmy Kimmel, this is for your child. From me, let's sing it. Are y'all ready? Let's go. 1, 2.
It's nice, but I don't know how to tell Stevie my son is a boy. But it's the thought that counts. Thank you, Stevie Wonder. Thanks for watching. If you like that, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest videos. And if you didn't, subscribe anyway. It's free. Who cares?